Imagine you need to store 5 test scores. Do you create 5 separate variables? That would work, but it's messy, repetitive, and hard to manage. There's a better way. In C++, arrays let you store multiple values in a single structure, clean, organized, and powerful. From game scores to temperature logs, arrays are everywhere in real-world coding. In this video, you'll learn what arrays are, how to create them, access their elements, loop through them, and avoid common mistakes. By the end, you'll be writing cleaner, smarter code, using arrays the right way. Let's say you're building a program that tracks temperatures for every day of the week. Do you really want to create a separate variable for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on? That's not just tedious, it's a nightmare to manage, especially as your data grows. This is where arrays come in. An array is like a row of boxes, neatly organized, each with its own label, or index. It allows you to store multiple values of the same type in a single, named container. For example, instead of 5 separate int variables, you can write just one line, int temperatures 7. Now you've created 7 slots, all integers, ready to hold your daily temperatures. It's clean, scalable, and incredibly efficient. And the best part? You can access any value instantly, using its position in the array. Arrays are the foundation of structured data, and they'll power everything from games and sensors to AI systems. So understanding them well is key to becoming a strong C++ developer. Now that you understand what an array is, let's learn how to declare one. In C++, declaring an array is simple. You start with the type of data you want to store, like int, float, or char, followed by the array's name, and then the size inside square brackets. For example, int ages, 5. This creates an array named ages with 5 integer elements. But what's inside these elements at first? If you don't initialize them, they could contain garbage values, unpredictable data in memory. So it's best practice to initialize them right away. Here's how you can do that. Int scores, 3, equals, 90, 85, 78. This gives you a ready-to-use array with 3 values. You can even initialize partially, int marks, 4, equals, 70, 60. In this case, the first 2 elements are set, and the rest are filled with 0. Simple, right? Declaring arrays properly helps you avoid bugs, reduce confusion, and write cleaner code from the very beginning. Now that we've declared an array, let's learn how to access and update its elements. Arrays in C++ use zero-based indexing, that means the first element is at position 0, not 1. So if you have an array like this, int scores, 3, equals, 90, 85, 78. Scores, 0, is 90, scores, 1, is 85, and scores, 2, is 78. To access an element, just use its index inside square brackets, cout scores, 1, prints 85. Want to change a value? Simple. Just assign a new value to that index, scores, 1, equals 100. Now the second element becomes 100. This is how arrays let you store and update data dynamically during your program's execution. But be careful, if you try to access an index outside the array's range, like scores, 5, you'll run into a serious problem, undefined behavior. So always stay within the array bounds. Accessing and updating correctly is key to mastering arrays, and it's something you'll do in almost every C++ program you write. Now that you know how to access array elements one by one, let's make it faster, with loops. Imagine an array of 100 elements. Accessing each one manually like scores, 0, scores, 1, scores, 2, would be a total nightmare. Instead, we use a loop to repeat the task. In C++, the most common way is the for loop. Here's the pattern: for, int I equals 0, I less than size, I plus plus. Cout scores, I, end L. This loop goes from 0 to size 1, and prints every value in the array, in order. Notice how I acts as the index, changing with each iteration. It's powerful, flexible, and works with arrays of any size. You can also use a loop to update values. For int I equals 0, I less than size, I plus plus. Scores, I plus equals 5. This adds 5 to every score in the array. With just a few lines, you can transform entire datasets. And that's why loops and arrays go hand in hand. You'll use this combo all the time in real-world programs. Let's talk about some of the most common mistakes beginners make with arrays, so you can avoid them early. The first big one is going out of bounds. If your array has 5 elements, the valid indices are 0 to 4. Trying to access array 5 or array -1 will cause undefined behavior, it might crash, or worse, silently corrupt data. So always double-check your loop conditions. Mistake number 2, using the wrong index variable. For example, inside a loop, if you write array I, but accidentally use j instead, you might read junk or write to the wrong spot. Third mistake, forgetting to initialize your array. Uninitialized arrays often contain random garbage values, especially if you're not using curly braces or manually setting values. And finally, one of the worst, hard-coding array sizes in multiple places. Instead of repeating the number 10 everywhere, store the size in a constant like this, constant size equals 10. Int numbers, size. Now if you change the size, your code stays consistent. Avoiding these mistakes will make your program safer, cleaner, and more professional. Let's wrap it up with a quick summary. Alright, time to see arrays in action with a real coding example. Let's write a small C++ program that does the following. It creates an array of 5 integers. It lets the user input the 5 values. Then it loops through the array and prints each number, doubled. Let's go step by step. First, we declare the array, int numbers, 5. Now we ask the user to enter values, cout enter 5 numbers. For int I equals 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. Cin numbers, I. Here we're using a loop to fill the array with user input, each cin a numbers, stores one number. Then, we display the results, but doubled, cout doubled values. For int I equals 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. Cout numbers, I, multiply by 2. We're using another loop, this time for output. Notice how loops make arrays extremely flexible and clean to work with. This is just a small program, but it's already applying everything we learned, declaring arrays. Using input, output. Looping through values. Performing operations on each element. And that's how you bring it all together in real code. Time for a quick quiz to check your understanding. Here's a question, and you have a few seconds to guess the right answer. Int data, 3, equals, 1, 2, 3. Data, 1, equals data, 0, plus data, 2. Cout data, 1. What will this program print? Is it A, 2, B, 3, C, 4, D, 5? Take a moment to think. And the correct answer is C4. Because data, 1, equals 1 plus 3, and that becomes 4. These kinds of questions help you practice logic, memory, and syntax, all in one go. If you got it right, awesome work. If not, no worries, rewind and review. That's how we learn. Ready for your final challenge and what's next? You've made it this far, now it's time to test your skills with a real challenge. Let's say you're writing a program that stores test scores for 4 students. Your task is to declare an integer array of size 4. Ask the user to enter 4 scores. Calculate and print the average score. Here's a little boost, you'll need a loop for input. You'll need a variable to store the total. And don't forget, average equals total divided by number of scores. This is a full mini project, simple, but powerful. If you can solve it, you've mastered the basics of arrays, loops, and logic. When you're done, hit pause, try it yourself, and let me know in the comments how it went. Awesome work, you've just completed one of the most important topics in C++, arrays. You've learned what arrays are, how they work in memory, how to create them, loop through them, and use them in real code. And that final challenge. If you solved it, that means you're thinking like a programmer. But we're not done yet. Next up, we'll take arrays to the next level with multidimensional arrays. 2D arrays, nested loops, matrix-style thinking, and way more coding practice. So hit subscribe, like the video if it helped, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep learning, and keep coding.